What's up? What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, good evening. We are right here in studio, ready to record. I guess, yes, our first one of 24.
It
Right?
is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, am I right? Yeah.
It is. Yep. Day number 4.
Yeah. So, hope everybody, the year has been treating them well so far. It's been kind of cold and dreary here.
Yeah, it has. And
sun has not shined very much in 24 so far.
yeah, I haven't seen the sun in 3 damn days.
Now, which that's my wife's like, it's cold. And I was like, I think it's really probably pretty normal temperatures. It's just, we had been really
kind of
warm.
Yeah.
Like I remember Christmas Eve, I was wearing short sleeves, you know.
Yeah.
We're like mid 60s, but yeah, back to normal temperatures. Which I looked ahead, because I'm always with the livestock worried. You know, when are we going to get a bad winter storm? I don't think there's anything like that in the forecast, but if you can believe it, on the 2 week, you get out 2 weeks from like right now, we're going to be like in the low teens.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Like 3 days in a row, the highs are like mid 30s, lows in the mid teens.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Hey, I like some winter.
Which I'm fine with that as long as it's dry.
Yeah.
If it's just cold and there's no snow or ice to go along with it, hey, I can handle that. That's really not even that hard on livestock. If they're dry, cattle are fine at those temperatures.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what
I don't want to be calving at those temperatures, which we won't be, not in 2 weeks. About another 6 weeks out, we might be. But
yeah. I reined in the new year with fever.
yeah, you did. Which has been going around. That's what we were talking about. Our whole office, I think everybody has been out at some point or another.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been terrible. The guy that's working on our house, actually, my buddy, I think he had the flu, and I'm pretty sure his kids had it, and I can't remember if he said his wife did. And then when I got up, because we took the kids to the Polar Express in Nashville, and I got up Thursday morning, felt like crap. I was like, oh man, because this is when we're supposed to leave, and I go to Red Med later on that day just to get checked, because I'm like, finally, like, I guess I need to see what I got. And they're like, yeah, you got strep. And my throat wasn't even sore. But I was positive for strep. I was running fever. And man, I had to just rally, because we were literally going to Nashville for one night, taking the kids to the ice thing the next day, and then coming home. So I was just eating ibuprofen, keeping the fever down, and we went and did our thing, which I will say, it was nice, because like when we were going into ice, I guess I probably was, because my fever would get up and then it would break and I'd sweat, and then I'd get fever again later, and then it'd break and whatever. Well, I apparently must have been breaking like while we were waiting to go into ice. And it's warm in there, and I'm like dying. I'm like, man, I'm trying to not just be drenched in sweat. Well, it was real nice when we get into ice. Have you ever been through this?
no,
Do you know what it is?
not really. No.
It's all ice sculptures, and it's pretty awesome. Like, it's huge sculptures from Polar Express. Like, they got the train and the conductor and
Terrible movie.
oh man, I love that movie. You don't like that movie?
So many plot holes in it.
Oh man. But it was all that, but it was perfect for me when your fever's breaking, because it was 9 degrees in there.
Yeah.
So it's freezing cold. So I felt awesome. Like when we got in there, man, it felt so good. But we got out of there and we loaded up and burned rubber back home. And then once I got home, I couldn't hardly even shake the fever and felt like crap for the next several days. And New Year's, I was thinking about it. I was like, every New Year, I bring in the new year with like a nice glass of bourbon. But I was on antibiotics because of the strep. So I didn't even get to drink any.
Yeah, we trying to even think. So
did you do some toot on New Year's?
New Year's was Sunday. New Year's Eve was Sunday. New Year's Day was Monday.
Yep.
I actually cooked a brisket, and I was like the typical, like, you see all the memes with like the dad like smoking something like nobody knows when it's going to actually be done.
Yeah.
I didn't put enough charcoal in the grill to begin with, and I should have known better, but it was a small brisket. I was like, this thing ain't going to take that long. And finally by like 9:30, it had made it up to like 197 degrees, and normally you get them up to about 203.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Because I'd already kind of cut the burn ends off at some point. So I was like, all right, I'm going to eat a little of it tonight. And
Yeah.
but anyway, so I was in bed by 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve.
Okay, so it wasn't y'all's dinner that night.
No, it was kind of like it could be, but it didn't have to be. Like, whatever. We kind of munched on it for the next several days.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we weren't having like folks over to eat it with us or anything like that. Because, yeah, kind of, I don't know, nobody in my house ever went to the doctor, but whether it's flu, strep, whatever, went through kind of us too. And my son, I forget what night it was, but he all of a sudden had a fever. Now, it only had him down for like not even 24 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kids, man, they're resilient, man. They just bounce back. And
yeah.
Which what hurt me was I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep for 4 nights.
Woo, yeah.
And man, and it was funny, after not sleeping for 4 nights, oh man, I felt terrible. I felt like death. And then that next night I slept. I remember I got in bed and I slept for like 3 hours, and I woke up to go pee, and I felt like a new man after like 3 hours of sleep. Like I was a changed man. And so it's amazing how even just a little bit of sleep helps so much. But while I was down, I'll tell you a good thing. If you're home sick, you ought to get on agzaga.com, kill some time, find you some stuff you need. You can still use that code, Talk Dirt. Yeah,
just scroll around on there and see what you need. Actually, my brother was telling me today, he bought one of their big heaters.
Okay.
I guess they run off kerosene. I don't know. They may have different ones.
Yeah.
But he bought one because they're a little further ahead than y'all, but in the process of building a house too.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have central heat and all in it yet, and it's pretty cold. And so he's got that over there.
Gotcha.
They were the trim carpenter was in there today, and he said, "Oh yeah," he said they had doors shut and had that heater going, and said it was nice in there.
Yeah. Okay, I have to look at the heaters on there. I hadn't even looked at the heaters.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. You just got to go in there and look, man.
You never know what's all on there.
Like I say, we always harp on like the net wrap, like for your bale net wrap. I mean, I keep hoping hay season is upon us soon. I hate this time of year. It's kind of but yeah, check them out. Talk Dirt, all caps, all one word. Get 10% off of whatever you need. Maybe buy some things you don't need too. That's always a fun thing about shopping on the internet, making impulse buy.
That's right. Well, we were going to do a guest episode tonight with our buddy William Lee, but it'll be next week most likely because, again, I'm still on antibiotics, so I'm drinking water. So I was like, man, you can't do a guest episode and drink water. So Bobby Lee's got his usual.
Yeah, I even brought the bottle tonight because I was like, this bottle's almost gone, and like I can't throw this bottle away because I don't know if I'll find another bottle of it. Logan will want that as a keepsake.
Got to have that chicken cock.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd do some listener questions because we got a bunch. Always, man, we appreciate y'all's listener questions, all of them. You can go to talkdirtpodcast.com, go to the contact page, submit your questions on there. That is the best place to do it because it tracks them in our email. So the first thing here comes from Heath. And Heath writes, and I'll tell you guys too, there's probably some people that are like, man, I asked a question a month and a half ago and y'all haven't got to it. We like to let them
maybe your question sucked. No.
Well, then we like to let them, I kind of like letting them build up a little bit so then we can do an episode or two.
Right.
So Heath writes in, he said, hey guys, I love your show. I wanted to ask Bobby Lee if he could send me his steer feed out plans. I think I sent you his email already. If not, I'll screenshot and send it to you.
And yeah, you can do that. Also, I would, anybody that wants the feed out program, and again, it's not one I developed, but just one that I apparently have the only PDF that you can't find it on the internet anymore. You can email me. You can go to my website, hurricanecreek.farm. You can contact me through there. Or my just direct email address is linked like on all my YouTube or whatever. But yeah, you go to hurricanecreek.farm and contact me and I can email it to you, or you can use Logan as a middleman too, I guess, if you want to. But
there you go. Well, then he says, also, what are y'all's favorite hunting calibers for different types of game? Man, that's tough. I'll tell you I'm gonna give you two, and I'm gonna give you two different reasonings. The first one, which is just kind of my standard go-to deer rifle, is my 270. That's kind of, I'm a 270 guy. I've killed more deer with my 270 than any other caliber or cartridge that I own. But if somebody told me you got to choose one caliber that's going to be your hunting caliber across the board, whether that's for a hog, a deer, or an elk, I'm going to go with a 300 Win Mag, because that is just, I've got several of them and I love that round.
Yeah, for big game, I mean, it's going to be
squirrel hunting, I would use a 300 Win Mag.
Well, it's going to be a little overkill. Yeah, I would, and plenty of people use them for whitetail. Nothing wrong with using them for whitetail. That's, at least around here, that's more gun than you need for whitetail. But yeah, for just about any big game in North America, you're not going to run into really anything too big for that. Like, you're going to have to go to like Africa and hunt like some dangerous game to need something bigger than a 300 Win Mag. But the other thing too, that's one that's easy to find ammo for. Yeah. Like there's so many of these kind of exotic, new rounds, and like, you've all got the buddy who's shooting some caliber you've never heard of, and that's cool. Like all the ballistics on it, or, whatever, slightly better. Okay. Well, yeah, you get off in the middle of nowhere, on a Western hunting trip and realize, oh crap, I forgot my ammo, or just something happens, you lose it somehow. You can run into any hardware store and pick up a box of 300 Win Mag. Yeah. Round's been around forever. And may not be the exact round that you're sighted in for, but you can take it out, fire off a couple, make sure you're still zeroed, and you're good to go. Whereas, with some of those, 375 HS or whatever. H&H. Yeah. Well, that's more of an African. Yeah. I actually, of course, everybody knows, you've been listening, my father-in-law passed away this fall, and my brother-in-law and my wife, we're kind of, splitting some things up in the guns, and my wife's like, well, I don't know him about the guns, and I actually, he had a rifle in 375. Really? What kind of rifle is it? It's a Remington. Okay. And I was like, I don't know that I will ever have a need to shoot this, but that's pretty cool to have, though. And I was like, this one, and I don't know the story behind it. I don't know if he had ever killed anything with it, but I was like, you know what? This is one of the ones that I'm going to pick. And so, yeah. That is cool. Yeah, I guess I got to find some ammo for it. Yeah. Might take it squirrel hunting. That's what you need to. I would. But yeah, 300 Win Mag, hard to go wrong there. I think everybody, I mean, if you don't have a 22 long rifle, you need to get one. Yeah. Just for plinking, seriously for squirrel hunting. That is one gun that I need to update, because I have two. I got a bolt action that is old as crap, I've had forever, and it's I can't mention all the animals that I might shoot with this thing, but it's kind of my pest remover, and it's varmint control gun, Yeah, but then I got a Vol Quartz, and I got a Black Mamba that's pretty nasty. But I'd say you need good rimfire, 22 long rifle. Yeah. Of course, a 223, you're not gonna. Well, I guess you could hunt deer with it. You're not going to hunt big game with it typically. No, I mean, you got to pick a hunting caliber. What are you going with? Just a single. For like right here, if I'm hunting just right here in West Tennessee, the animals we have, and I can only have one, I'm probably going to go something a little smaller than the 300 Win Mag. I might say, I've killed a lot of deer with a 7mm 08, which is, really similar to a 308. Easy to find ammo for. A 243, maybe a 25-06, something like that, because those aren't so big that they're ridiculous for like varmint hunting, coyote hunting. Yeah. But still plenty big enough to kill a deer. And I mean, we don't have black bears, which a black bear, I guess, is not a super large game anyway.
Yeah.
Those cows would probably be something. But yeah, I guess we do have a few hogs, if you can find them. I don't know, I've never hog hunted, but I would imagine the right bullet, those would all be plenty capable. Yep. So yeah, that's a tough question because if it's one caliber to hunt all of North America, I'm probably going 300 Win Mag right here around home. I'd for sentimental reasons, I'd probably say 7mm 08.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody, you got to have a 223.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead in an AR or in just a traditional bolt action rifle, and then you got to have a 22. Whether it's just a lever action or a pump action that you keep in the truck, kind of your truck gun, you know, when you need to dispatch a
man,
maybe, or you got a possum that's getting in. That's what my brother, he's got a possum that's getting in his garage every night and eating his cat food.
Oh, really?
He's like, but it's in the garage. Like, what can I shoot it with? In the garage. He's like, I don't want to shoot like a hole in the wall.
Well, if he does with the 22, it'll be so tiny you won't really notice.
Well, he's got like some super like subsonics, that they're like 750 feet per second. It's like, as long as you hit him, I can't imagine that thing passing through.
Yeah.
It might just bounce off of him.
Yeah. That'd be, that's
no, but or like a good air rifle would be good for that too.
Yeah, it would. Yes, that's true. Well, all right. Well, there you go. There's Heath. We appreciate you writing in. So the next question comes in from Thomas.
And I actually had already sent Heath. You may have shared his email because I was like, that email looks familiar.
Okay. I was thinking I had.
So Heath, I hope you've been enjoying that PDF. Been putting it to use already.
If we have done one of these questions before, that's my mistake, but I don't think we have. So Thomas writes in, and if you recognize this, tell me. He says, I'm a first-generation cattle farmer that moved from the city to a small 80-acre farm in southwest Manitoba when I met my wife. Have we done this one? The Manitoba part sounds really familiar.
If he's talking about converting it over to cropland?
This is my second year running feeders, and I'm wanting to get into heifers.
Maybe we haven't done this one yet.
Okay, he said, I have very little knowledge and am learning as I go. What are some issues I can expect when calving? What type of equipment will I need that will make it easier as I usually work alone? Thank you for making my daily commute and work day more enjoyable.
Okay, so I don't think we've done this. So when he says he's thinking about switching to heifers, he means, and then actually breeding those heifers. So, of course, step one is just getting them bred. And as I found out, we've discussed on here a little about my adventures with selling bred heifers this year. And it's not always as simple as just turning the bull out with them and the magic happens. But yeah, say you get them bred, or you get, if you're like me, you're going to have some of them bred, some of them not, but you keep the ones that are bred, you're going to calve them out. Of course, probably just the biggest one everybody's going to think of is just dystocia, just a difficult birth. If she's a heifer, maybe, calf's just too big, or you get, abnormal presentations, you get one breached, you get one coming, butt for, head back, leg back, whatever. Some of those are fairly simple. You get in there, you can kind of rearrange them, and the calf comes right out if she hadn't been pushing forever and is already completely exhausted. But I would go ahead and have, a lot of people, I think, use a calf jack maybe too much, but at least have chains and handles where you can pull a little. I probably would recommend having a calf jack, but having somebody there that's used one before and can show you how to properly use it, where you're not gonna use it when you don't need to, or potentially hurt her. Prolapses are another common problem, which those you may be a situation where you're gonna need to get a vet out if you got one nearby that services your area, or maybe you got a vet you can haul into. A lot of times those are problems where you can get her on a trailer still and get her somewhere. The biggest thing, like with the prolapse, and really probably even if she has just trouble calving, unless it was something just completely not her fault, get rid of her. Don't. That's what somebody messaged me yesterday. And they had a prolapse. She was asking me for a few tips, and I said, well, the first tip I'm going to give you is when this is all over with, you sell her. Make sure this is the only time she prolapses on you, because I've been that guy that doesn't
And
get
then
rid of her, and then they're going to do it next year,
Yeah.
and you're going to feel like a dumbass because she's probably going to lose a calf, and then you're going to keep her, and she's going to lose another, and you just wasted all kinds of time and money and a lot of effort and cussing as you're trying to push that thing back in. And then after you got a live calf on the ground with heifers, you're going to have some of them that are just idiots and don't have good maternal instincts and might try to abandon a calf. I had a heifer that calved out this year, and I had home raised her, so I still had her mother. Her mother was in the herd. Well, her mother had already calved. She wanted to claim her mother's calf, so it would have been like her half sibling as hers. And she still, up until I finally weaned the calves, I would catch her. She would have her calf and her half, I don't know if it was a bull calf or heifer calf. Her half brother, half sister would also be nursing her.
Really?
But she was so convinced. She wanted to claim that other calf more than hers. And so they'll do that,
So she would still let her actual calf
She would let
nurse?
her calf nurse, but I would get so mad at her because she would, when the calves were still young and like really needing to nurse, like her calf would be off like other side of the pasture all by itself, sometimes like bawling and look for its mom, and she'd be with that other calf, and like I would like, of course it was pointless, but I'd like get the side by side, like run her away from that calf towards the other one. Then she'd find hers and she'd let it nurse. She was not combative towards it.
Yeah.
But as soon as like you turn her back, she'd be making a beeline for that other one. So they'll do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, they will. Sometimes they don't make good milk.
Some of them just, and of course, again, you get rid of all those, which like that one, I kept her because I was like, well, okay, first time, and I might feel like a dumbass if she tries to do this with her mom's calf, which her mom now is getting older. Her mom's not going to be in the herd for too much longer, most likely. But still, it's like, why do some of them do that? But if they're going to flat out abandon a calf and like not let it nurse, and some of them that are just terrible like that, yes, they will probably do that every year. You get rid of them. Heifers are. That's why a lot of people will tell you, like, if you're looking to just start a cow-calf herd, buying young cows, 5, 6-year-old cows, 4-year-old cows, whatever, that have already had a calf or two, you may be better off doing that than buying heifers. A lot of times you can sometimes get them a little cheaper than you can heifers even. Yeah. And they've already proven themselves. I mean, you're going to take somebody's word for it that, they hadn't had problems, I guess. Because that would be one question I've had. Well, why are you getting rid of her? But, and in the long run, say you buy 20 of them, they're already proven, theoretically they're going to be much more likely to be with you for multiple calving seasons. Whereas with heifers have more trouble getting bred back for their second pregnancy. So a lot of times, even if a heifer does pretty good, she doesn't get bred back though. And so then she doesn't end up staying with your herd anyway. So yeah, it's lots of challenges during calving season, and those are tenfold when you've got heifers, versus mature mama cow, it's 6, 7, 8 years old. It's been there, done that, man. You don't even hardly, they can still have trouble calving. They can have prolapses, sometimes you just get them, like say one's trying to come, breech or with the head back or whatever. And it's nothing that was her fault, nothing that experience is going to help her out with. But for the most part, those cows, they have those calves, they're up and nursing before you even realize she was in labor. Yeah. It's like, well, don't have to worry about that. You can sit there on the back porch and look out there and check her and like, oh, yep, she had the calf. It's already up nursing. Good deal. Yeah. Yeah, good luck to you, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, awesome, man. And Thomas, we appreciate you writing in. And like I say, good luck. Definitely, that's a fun journey ahead of you. All right, next.
I enjoy calving. Like I'm not gonna sit here. When I was talking about how I hate this time of year a minute ago, it's just like right now we're about 6 weeks away from calving. It's like it's just every day. It's like it's freaking dark in the morning, and I guess the days are getting longer technically, but it's dark in the evening when I'm doing chores. It's cold, the sun won't shine, and just feeding cows. They're just eating. It feels like we're not accomplishing anything right now. We're just trying to get to calving season, and then we're trying to get to grass in the spring where we can finally quit feeding hay. And it's just, I don't know. At this time of year, mate, you're just like, like I see why people get depressed in the wintertime, even the ones that aren't messing with cows. But.
Yeah. All right, Ethan writes in, talking grass, probably more a Bobby Lee question.
Love grass.
He was smoking some before he came here. Are you working hard to raise one type of grass for your cattle, or are you just letting whatever comes up grow? I'm in East Texas, and everyone says if you don't have Bermuda grass, you ain't got nothing. I've been doing a lot of looking into Big Blue Stem and Kentucky Fescue and thinking about broadening my horizons in my pastures. I'm tired of spending a bunch of money on chemical to just have clean Bermuda grass, and from my understanding, native grasses thrive better in droughts. Love the show. Thanks, fellas.
Okay, so the first question of we're going for one species or just letting whatever is out there wants to do its thing, I would say we're really doing neither. I definitely don't want one species, the damn monocropping. But no, we want a really diverse, grazing system where we've got a mixture of grasses and our legumes, which East Texas, they're probably not too terribly different than us.
Yeah.
All our clovers, kind of our big three are white clovers, our red clovers, and then our crimson, that we have a fair amount of, especially on one farm. And then we have a mixture of cool and warm season grasses. Fescue, in our part of the world is still it's hard to be efficient grazers without having fescue, orchard grass, something, cool season, so that you got that earlier grazing in the spring, later grazing into the fall. But our summers are pretty brutal. We do have a lot of Bermuda. Crabgrass is an excellent forage. All the turf grass guys are going to cuss it. I don't like it in my yard either. One, because it grows fast, but that's great for grazing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, you don't see a lot of Johnson grass in pasture, but it makes an excellent forage. Dallas grass, even some of the grasses that aren't quite as desirable, you're still getting some forage, or some feed value, things like foxtail. But yeah, we want to be pretty diverse, the obvious just being the warm and the cool season, just so you got, longer, better grazing. You don't go through that summer slump that you go through if you got all just cool season grasses. But then if you're all warm season, you don't have anything to graze till like into May, kind of thing. The clovers, just because they do help, that they benefit those grasses because they fix nitrogen for you. They're very palatable. And it's just healthier for the soil. So, and I'm spraying pasture, and we do it. We try to be very targeted with where we spray, because most of the time when we're spraying for weeds, we're spraying for broadleaf weeds, and so almost all the chemicals we use there are going to smoke your clovers. And so it's like, at what point are my weeds bad enough that I'm like, all right, I just got to spray, and I'm going to have to sacrifice clovers. That's where, and I went to agsaga.com, bought my UTV sprayer, goes in the back of my side-by-side, and, we kind of spot spray. I've got the wand on there where I literally, if I've just got a few thistles here and there, I'll ride up and spray them with the wand. If they're a little more widespread, I can use my, I've actually got the boomless tip on the back, but sprays like 30 feet. But yeah, it's nice. It's a little more, they're gonna be a little more precise with it than spraying with the tractor. And I got it for 10% off using that Talk Dirt discount code. But because I know some people, they spray. They're gonna spray 2,4-D, Graze On, one of those products, and they're gonna spray it all over the whole pasture, and they have no clover. And I guess that's fine, if they've got enough of a weed problem, maybe they don't have that much clover to begin with. They definitely don't if they're spraying like that every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, to a certain extent, like a few weeds, as much as, they're a lot of times they're just more of an eyesore than anything. They're not I mean, you get to a certain threshold, you gotta do something to control them. But at a certain level, they're really not hurting much. And I feel like the benefit you get from not hurting your clover outweighs the little bit of a weed pressure you've got out there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, there you go. And
but definitely want diverse species. And on the native grasses, I don't have a lot of experience in them. Now, what you've said, I believe, is very accurate. The native grasses are nice because they do tend to thrive better in drought conditions. A lot of times you don't need the lime like you do on some of these other species. I had kind of researched it at one time. Getting them established can be a slow, painful process.
That's what I was going to say.
Now, once you get them going, you're in pretty good shape, but they're all, I believe those anyway, are warm season. Now, they do some pretty impressive growing when they're going, but you don't get that as early a grazing as you do like with fescue and whatnot.
Yep. All right. Good luck on the journey, Ethan, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any more questions. And we'll go on to the next one here. So JD writes in. He says, hello, this is a row crop question. I've recently taken on a lot of acres in a neighboring county in western Kentucky. There is maybe 40 acres of consistently bush-hugged grass that the owner would like to see put into production. The grass is currently waist high. How should I manage this? We are experienced no-tillers, but not in this situation. If I make a mistake on this, the ground is 25 miles away. Anyways, the show is awesome. Logan, I've talked to you a couple times from Facebook, and you guys seem like good dudes. Okay, yeah, JD. Oh, yeah, I recognize the name. Yeah, good guy. I think he was in the Marine Corps, or I know he's in the military. So always appreciate our vets. So, man, this is so I like to do the green planting here, and man, I'm gonna tell you, I have planted stuff that was I planted in some stuff that's nearly 5 foot tall. Like I have planted straight into it, planted it green. Now I can't remember what kind of planters JD and them are running, but I am a red planter guy for this very reason. I can pretty confidently say that I can take my red planter. I got a 1245. I'm not running no-till coulters or anything, and I can plant into just about anything, and I will get a good stand. Now, on something like this, when it's grass currently waist high, how should I manage this? You know, I don't know. I'll tell you a couple of options. One, and this is not something that we do a whole lot anymore, but some guys, and again, I also don't know the tillage situation here, but some guys would probably advise you to till around the outer perimeter and burn it off. Or one thing that I did this past season that was pretty cool was I had that guy come and bale the grass.
Yeah.
He came in and he just cut, mowed it, raked it, and baled it for hay. And that actually was awesome. That worked great. I would really consider doing something like that if you could. Now, again, this grass situation, I'm not sure what it is, but I would almost consider doing something like that. Or if there's any way possible, I don't know. I would try to get it down because you don't want it to be like we have some fields where the solar panels are going, and they actually came in last year and they cut them and they even raked some of them, and then they just never baled it. And so now that's what Dad and I were looking. We're like, man, if they end up not doing anything with that, you'll almost have to like burn that place off because it's a big, huge, it's windrows, and like a planter, It ain't gonna get through that. So, man, it's kind of tricky without me seeing it. Because if it's not just super, super thick, then, I mean, honestly, I would say no-till the hell out of it. I'd probably still terminate it. I don't know that I'd plant it green, which my planter does better in tall stuff if it's green. If it's dead, my planter doesn't do as well. The fuzz and stuff will actually come off and it'll get sucked up into my meters on the planter, and my gauges go nuts in the cab, and it makes it a real pain in the butt. But man, I don't know. I actually would like some more information. Message me, reach out and message me, and let's talk some more about this, because I'd like to know your planter setup, and I'd really like to see a picture or something of the place. Because, yeah, I mean, 25 miles away, that's not something you want to be just driving a tractor over there for and not getting good results on. So, yeah, message me, JD, and I'll try to help you kind of game plan on that. So, appreciate you writing in. And then the next one, this one comes from Ben. I am a public land rancher in Safford, Arizona. I am interested in being on the podcast in order to discuss the history of public land, agriculture, multiple use, and current issues. I was on Zippy Duval's Farmside Chat podcast. Zippy Duval, is that the ag? That's our.
I believe he was.
Wasn't he?
I believe he was president of Farm Bureau.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
So that wasn't a question. This guy just said he would like to be on the show. So we'll Bobby Lee and I'll consider that. All right. Yeah, Zippy definitely was the Farm Bureau guy.
Yeah.
There's another one. Bobby Lee, can you send me your feed out plan? I'll screenshot this and go ahead and send that to Bobby Lee. All right, got that sent over to you. Now, next one. Man, we had a lot. This is good. So this one comes in from our good buddy, Mr. Tim.
Okay.
And he had told me that he wrote this one in. He was like, man, I know why they're doing it, but I'm just curious, because he said, I bet other people don't. And so our buddy, Mr. Tim here, he's a pilot, and he said, as I crisscross this country, why do I see farmers burning fields, primarily during the fall after harvest and primarily in the Mid-South region? So, this used to be a really common practice, because I can actually remember when we would burn fields off, but we don't do it basically ever anymore, unless it's a scenario where I'm talking about, like, something is so thick that you don't have a choice, like you got to get rid of it. But
the one scenario where I feel like I still see it around here is behind wheat harvest, which I think a lot of people, most folks don't do that anymore either.
Yeah, because you lose really everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I've joked around after I've sprayed, like if I spray a hot mixture of Roundup, Fire Zone, and Sharpen, I'm like, man, it's scorched earth behind that thing. But when you burn it, it's truly scorched earth. Like you have just.
I think it goes back to that old mindset of, the guys wanted just a clean, just perfectly clean. I mean, like this tabletop right here. And you burn it off. I mean, it's black, but I mean, it's
oh yeah,
it's clean.
And it is clean. I mean, because I remember the last time I remember doing it, hey, and I'll tell you, it's kind of an adrenaline rush, because we burn off the last wheat field I can remember. We took a tire and you put a chain around it and you drag it from behind a truck, but you got to do it kind of in a strategic path.
You got to know which way the wind's blowing. And
yeah, there have been farmers that have gotten killed because they actually end up getting themselves stuck inside the fire.
Well, I know all kinds of, right here where we're sitting, just across the road from us, they burn up a John Deere Gator.
Yeah,
That's back before they were even called side by side. It's like the old school Gator.
Yeah, like but didn't have 6 tires or something. Had the dual. 4.
Some of them had 6 tires. Some of them had just the single front tire.
Yeah,
I don't remember what that one was, but they were.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they were using it to burn off a wheat field, and got caught it, the whole thing on fire. And
it can happen fast, but that's why a lot of guys do that. It's kind of like it's a free,
just getting rid of the residue.
I was gonna say it's a free burn down, but man, it's kind of an old practice.
Yeah, you're losing. I think a lot of people are starting to realize this is focusing more on soil health and just the nutrient value that is there in that residue. That's one thing. guys that like to bale their corn stalks, or they let somebody, not a real big common practice around here, but in some areas, they may not bale every acre, but a lot of the corn stalks, they bale them, to use as either bedding or more often, I guess, for feed. But when you take that off of that cornfield, like, you're losing some nutrients. I mean, the only reason they're baling it is because there's nutrients there for the animals.
Yeah.
But that's also nutrients that would end up back in the soil that you're taking away. And so it's not, because I think some people look at it like in that scenario where it's like, that's free feed. That's just waste that we're then turning into animal feed. Well, it's not totally waste. Like, there is value in there for the soil. And I feel like same way, like in that wheat stubble and anything else, like there's some value in there.
Well,
and when you're literally just going up in smoke,
It's like it's one of the reasons why I like cover crops and things like that. Just having the residue there maintains, one of the things I've seen is it maintains your moisture better. In a dry year, a burn off field versus a field that still has a lot of residue and things there, you're always going to find moisture better in the field with more residue than the like chalkboard over here.
Well, and like a real hard rain, like that stubble protects the ground from.
People used to kind of look at cut wheat straw as almost like little straws for the rain to kind of permeate the ground. Like that's kind of
well, and I just when you think of, and of course you think about rain as like the erosion is just like the running water washing soil away, and that's a big deal. But that raindrop actually hitting, is somewhat traumatic. And so when you've got that cover, even if it is just that little bit of stubble, it's just I guess is probably the biggest reason why you're starting to see it less and less. But
I kind of put it on one of the same guys that used to love doing it was the same guy that used to pull a disc and a do-all on every single farm.
Yeah, I think exactly, because you just want it looks just flat and clean, just a clean slate, just wiping it completely clean and starting over, before we plant our beans in there behind the wheat.
That's right. Well, there you go, Mr. Tim. As always, we appreciate you writing in. Brad writes in, he just said, did these tornadoes miss your area? That was, I guess, those recent ones that hit in like Clarksville.
Yeah, Clarksville, Middle Tennessee, kind of I guess mostly kind of north of Nashville. Clarksville, I guess, kind of northwest. But yeah, we were completely spared. Like it didn't even rain much during that system for us. Yeah,
we're good, thankfully. All right, Jeremy writes in and says, I was recently listening to the Sean Ryan Show podcast with Michael Schellenberger, and they mentioned the Great Migration from California. Sean, which I think Sean is in Nashville, but Sean brought up the fact, he has seen a lot of those refugees putting down roots in Tennessee. I know y'all have mentioned it a few times, but can you drive deeper into what y'all are seeing and how has it affected your state? So I feel like for the most part, we're still pretty isolated here.
Yeah, the Nashville area, in my opinion, Nashville has fallen.
Yeah.
I've spent a little time. I have family in Middle Tennessee, thankfully. They are not in Nashville, which, I mean, I guess for property values, maybe they wish they did own a bunch of property there. But, I mean, you hear about it. Nashville's been kind of exploding for the last 20 years or so. But
Nashville is our Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, I liken it to Austin, Texas. I know a few people that are Texans, born and raised, and they look at Austin. I mean, they call it the San Francisco of the South.
Yeah.
I mean, Nashville is certainly becoming the San Francisco of Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people moving in, and I've heard, people talking, like some realtors like just quit taking phone calls from people in Nashville or people, if they call like with the California area code, they just want to answer it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if that, that may just be folks blowing smoke, but, folks moving in, from both coasts, really, we see, just in veterinary business, people pretty regularly that are new to our area. Now, I'd say probably 75% of the new people we have, maybe not quite that many, at least half are military, because we still have, the naval base in Millington, brings in a lot of people that are moving here. And now one thing I always hear, or I hear it consistently, I won't say I always hear it, is people talk about it like, man, we really like it here though. Like we want to stay here when we retire from the military. Before, this isn't the last place we're stationed, we're going to come back here. Like, well, that's pretty cool, because generally obviously military is a diverse place, but a lot of those folks I think generally have pretty good values.
Yeah.
But we have not seen just a real influx. We have not been just overwhelmed with all the refugees from California.
And even Memphis isn't really seeing it. I think they're probably scared to send them there because they'll get killed. So they're like,
well, and part of me is like, all right, Memphis, y'all keep doing Memphis stuff then, if that keeps them away from us.
Yeah, that's true.
But I hesitate to even really say it because I don't want a lot of people moving here. But like my wife being from that area, kind of just south of Nashville, and some of her friends be like, "Oh, y'all should move up here." And like I look at them and I'm like, "You do realize, they've got, I don't know, they got 10 acres, 40 acres, whatever. Like you realize you could sell that because you see what land is going for up there, and you could come down there where we are and buy 10 times that."
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, "Whoa!" And you can see like they kind of start thinking about
the
it.
gears
like,
kind of turning.
I was like, yeah, like there's like, yeah, I'd move up here and I couldn't have cows anymore. Like I'd have 10 cows,
Yeah,
because I'd have to sell all the land that I have now, and I'd have to downsize dramatically to be able to afford it. So
yeah.
I guess it's good in that sense, for the landowners, that want to cash out. But for people wanting to farm and whatnot in that area,
It's tough.
yeah. Yeah, knowing enough people in and around there, and a lot of people that I know, a lot of them are ready to get out. Like,
Yeah.
I have college age cousins in Nashville, or they've kind of gone away to school, and they've pretty much said like we don't have intentions of going back. It ain't what it used to be. It's growing up so fast. I mean, it's great for, I guess, the economy and whatnot, but for the lifestyle and things like that, spending a little time in Nashville recently, I guess I'm a xenophobe and all the phobes, like, like, I like, regular old country people, Christian,
Yeah.
they ain't got to have the same color skin as me by any means. But just some of the stuff that we saw in my limited time, I was like, are you kidding me? Like I shouldn't have been shocked, but part of me was kind of shocked. So like, this is the shit you see on TV that happens in California.
Yeah.
And I won't go into all the details, but just
a lot of butt sex, he said. Saw lots of butt sex on the streets of Nashville.
Wasn't quite that graphic, but like just Christian type churches and stuff that are
flying pride flags.
Yeah, and like
else.
stuff like that. I'm like, man, that kind of flies in the face of what at least my denomination, my religion believes in, and then just
that, like I said, we're
just stuff that you're like, we're in Tennessee, man. Like this, but again, it's like Nashville is kind of teetering on the edge of me saying, like, like there's Tennessee and then there's Nashville.
That's
like,
kind of how I am.
Nashville's technically in Tennessee, but most people in Nashville aren't Tennesseans.
Yes, that is. Nashville is very much like New York City. Whenever we went to New York City, I loved New York. Like it was really cool, but I like history, so the history stuff was really cool to me. But I would talk to people because I just like talking to people, and they all would be like, "You're not from here," and then I'd be like, "Well, are you from here?" And they were like, "Well, no, I'm from so-and-so." So I don't know that I talked to a single person in New York City that was from New York City. Like everybody moves there, and it's the same way with Nashville. Like rarely do I talk to people in Nashville and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm from here." Like most of them moved there for some reason. Like, and so it is Nashville. That's like the like redheaded stepchild of Tennessee.
It's becoming that way. And see, it's crazy because Memphis was always the butt of all the Tennessee jokes.
Yeah.
And Memphis still has its issues and probably always will. But with all like just the crazy, stupid stuff, like not just the regular old crime, Nashville is a runaway winner of that category. But yeah, we got off way on a tangent. You gave me an opportunity to crap on Nashville, and I took it.
Hey, but have at it, man.
But yeah, we haven't seen an extreme amount of that. I've seen, because I'll ask clients like when they move to our area. And like I see, because I've got their records, I know where they moved here from generally. And usually I can tell if they're military because they're moving from, certain areas. They're all Navy. But every now and then we'll have somebody they're like, we just did a Google search of great places to live and this came up. And I was like, I'm going to find that article and
get rid of it.
Somehow sabotage it, get it deleted off the internet. And
reported as spam.
People, and people say, this comes up as a really good, affordable place to move to, which I'll admit that's helped me. We were trying to hire a vet a year or two ago, and this is one we didn't end up hiring because they didn't end up moving here. But right, we want to move somewhere where we can have land and cattle. And I believe they were in like Louisiana, and they're like West Tennessee and somewhere in Texas came up. And I was like, wow. I was like, yeah, generally speaking, we've got pretty affordable land prices and whatnot. And so, yeah, I guess, we do have a few people like that. Like, yeah, this just comes up as a really good place. The cost of living is really cheap. You got good schools, got, low crime, outside of Memphis.
Definitely outside of Memphis.
And that sort of thing, like, wow, okay, yeah, welcome to West Tennessee.
Yeah, all right. I want to do,
but that is not an endorsement for moving here.
No, move to Nashville if you want to move there.
The people are really nice.
Yeah. I got one question here that I want to get to. We got quite a few left, so we'll do a part 2. But this was one that I saw come through the emails, and this he's been a listener for a while because I saw he had asked another question before. So I don't think that it means this hating on us. It came off a little interesting. So Nick writes in here, and it's pretty long, but I want to get to this because this is a really good question. What's going on, guys? I have a few thoughts about renting ground. I have a few hundred acres of grass I rent, and I'm 24. You guys are talking about people coming in underneath you, paying more to rent the ground and how that pisses you off. But for a guy starting out, you kind of have to be a little selfish because at the end of the day, it's your dream to farm and it's my dream to farm. So why should I have to sit back and watch you guys farm ground and live your dream, but I can't pay a little bit more and try to live mine? If it bites me in the ass, that's on me, but I would rather make $3,000 on 100 acres than sit back and watch you guys make $10,000 on 100 acres. That's just an example. And I think at the end of the day, you have to be a little selfish if your intentions are right, with that being said. So what I wanted to point out first off is if it's a good ground and it's competitive, I'm not paying cheap enough rent to be that big of a difference. If if you're going to have to make $3,000,
and he may have been just throwing numbers, just example, I don't.
But it's not that big of a gap. Like you guys, when I read this, I take it as almost thinking well, you're not paying but $100 an acre. No, man, look, if you're in the game at this point, you're already paying competitive. And when I say it pisses me off, look, I'll let you jump in. The way I look at it is like this. I've never said don't go after ground. Because yes, you got to grow and there is limited acres of ground, but I have been in this for 10 seasons now. I have never called and said I would pay more rent than the guy that's working it. I've never done that. I let people know that I'm looking. I've told people, and I'm even specific on that. Like if it's a farmer that I'm really I'm good friends with and stuff, I'm not going to mess with the ground. That ground is not an option for me. And I'm not going to cross any of my friends. But also, especially starting out, there's something that I want to warn you about, because there's a specific people in our town here that I have heard from multiple farmers when they kind of exploded on the scene, they sent out letters to basically all the landowners, and they said they would pay more rent than all the other guys. And that was kind of their thing. And I think they picked up some ground. Now, everybody thought they were douches, and I think they're a douche for doing that, because I do think that's shitty. And I'm going to tell you, you don't want to create enemies with every farmer, because prime example, this past season when my trailer broke in half, and man, the end of the day had not come yet, and I had another farmer call me, and he was like, man, we got a trailer you can borrow. Like, if you need to borrow a trailer, heard what happened to yours, you can borrow ours. And I even had another guy, like, when we were trying to handle the busted trailer, I had to get an empty trailer next to it. I had another farmer that was like, man, if you need an empty trailer, I can send one of my guys out there next to yours. And, you know, that was a freak thing, but there's been several instances where something will happen and you might need help, or something could go down, and it's like, man, I wish I could call this farmer and ask him for help or do this or that, but you've burned every bridge because you have tried to seek the ground out from all of them by offering to pay better rent. And so I'm not telling you not to try to grow, but I am telling you, and another thing that I've also said on the show before is you also don't want to go broke paying rent. If the rent is pretty competitive already and you're going to wax him in the rent, I mean, I could be working 10,000 acres today if I wanted to go pay $300 an acre rent everywhere, and my profit margin would probably not exist anymore. And I would, if I had one bad year, I'd be completely broke and bankrupt. But I don't know. I just don't think that that's the good way to operate. I think there's better ways. I think you can contact landlords, let them know you're interested, and just tell them, if you ever decide to change, I'd love an opportunity. I mean, I just don't think, I mean, I guess I can say I've been in it for 10 years and I've never called a landlord and said, I will pay more than the guy that you have now. And I've been able to grow a fairly decent size operation.
Yeah. And I would say, like everything, there's two sides of it. And part of you know, we look at it from the landowner's perspective. Well, yeah, I mean, if it's worth a little more than that, then, you know, I want other guys kind of competing for it. But like we've said many times on here too, there's really something nice about having a long-term relationship with a landowner. You know, you knowing I'm renting this ground and I'm probably going to be able to rent it for the next 10, maybe 20, 30 years.
Yep.
If, you know, if it doesn't change ownership, and I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to do things for soil health and, you know, for the long term, because I'm not just here for a year or two before I, you know, wait for the next guy to come in and outbid me.
Yep.
Yeah, too, and I would say, and I know Logan's situation well enough, I feel like to say that when he expresses the anger at people who have come in, it ain't a young guy who's just trying to get started. A lot of times it's a lot of times
a very well established operation.
Big guys that have, that you know, either generation older and been in the game and are just hungry, you know, and greedy to get more. And so now I'm sure there's young guys that come in, and actually I can think of a few examples.
I could tell you some too. Well,
and I know some of them that aren't farming anymore because they came in and outbid everybody on rent and went broke doing it.
Yes. Well, and something I'd say there is be strategic about what you're going after. Like, I'll tell you that one of the things that also pisses me off is when people eat their own. And I'm still very much in our area. I am a small farmer. Like, I work enough ground like to make a living. At least theoretically, maybe not. Maybe I don't see that living, but anyways, I work enough ground to make a living and do what I do full time. But like when I do have, because we have some big operations around here, and so then I'll have some smaller guy come breathing down my neck, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, we're in the same boat here, man. Go pick on some of this damn ground that this big guy's working. Like, that's where I'm like, look, you see this guy over here? He's working 20,000 acres. Go after some of his shit. I barely got enough to survive. Like, so that's when it ticks me off. So I don't know, man. I don't go after stuff. I don't target ground that a small guy's working, like a young guy trying to get started, which we don't have a lot of that around here, but we got some smaller farmers. I don't mess with any of their stuff because I understand the struggle. Like, I'm like, man, hell, I need every acre I got. And so I don't mess with theirs. But the big guys, man, I'm not afraid to contact a landlord. But even the big guys, I don't contact their landlord and say, well, how much are they paying? Because I'll pay more. It's just, I mean, look, if that's the way you want to operate, then that's fine. Have at it. But myself personally, I don't like that. I don't think that's good business.
Well, and like you say, you know, it's still a fairly small community, and
people will find out.
They're definitely going to find out. Like I say, you're going to have a day when you're going to be broke down with a grain trailer on the side of the highway, and if you've pissed off every farmer in the county, they're going to
laugh at you as they drive
by. Yeah, when their truck drives by and flip you the bird, and
yep,
and you know, and you don't want people sitting around waiting on something like that to happen to you just so they can laugh at you.
Yes.
And there's people around here that are kind of probably in that situation now.
Yes.
A lot of them that have made that many enemies are big enough that, you know, they can take care of themselves more or less. But yeah, you don't want to be in that situation and being the small guy and needing to rely on neighbors and whatnot to pitch in and help you out, but you've done burned every bridge in the county.
Yep. Yeah. Just be strategic is how I would put it. And yeah, when I get mad, I mean, there's the two scenarios that I just went over. And but at the end of the day, I mean, it's because, like, I don't have enough acres to give up acres. So, like, when a guy is coming after some of my ground, whether he's a little guy or a huge operator, like, both of them piss me off just because I'm like, man, hell, at this point, man, like, if I lose this farm, that could, like, put out my livelihood. So,
well, and again, when I think of the young guys, and I don't probably have as many of them off the top of my head as you would, that have kind of had that attitude, it seems like a lot of them, they flame out.
Yeah.
But they burn hot and they burn out fast. You know,
I think guys love the idea of being big farmers, and then they get in there, they work, like they take on all this load. They have a shit ton of work they got to do. They're paying ungodly high rent. The end of the year comes and goes, and they don't make any money.
Yeah.
And they're like, damn, you know, that was a lot of work for nothing.
A hell of a lot of risk, a hell of a lot of stress.
Yep.
I pissed everybody in the county off.
Yep.
And I didn't make a dime. You know, I might have broke even if I'm lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think they may do that. You may see those guys do that a couple of years or something, and then their run and farming's kind of like, they're on to the next thing.
Well, yeah, they're like, oh, I can get a job in town, work half as many hours, and make twice as much money.
Yes.
Like, okay, I'm going to be smart about this.
Yep. So, appreciate you writing in, man. It's good. I knew that was something I was like, we got to get to this one question today because I had seen it in there. So, feel free to reach back out. As always, you guys go to talkdirtpodcast.com, contact page, send us your questions. I'll let you do the honors.
Yeah, man. Well, we haven't gotten to our damn New Year's resolution.
Have we not?
Our
oh no, we have not.
Getting him on the board.
Yeah, we do have to do that still.
2 words. Made in America.
Do you have it tonight?
I've got a list of companies that I can.
Well, I don't have one.
And I can't remember if I've done this one. So tell me, have I done Redland Cotton?
Man, I feel like you have, but I don't know.
I don't know. I've got it. I didn't move it up to the list of the ones I've done. So I'm going to do it tonight.
All right.
So Redland Cotton, they're in Alabama. They're cotton farmers, kind of as the name would imply, that make all kinds of cotton goods. For my wife's birthday, I finally got around, bought her a set of bed sheets.
Oh, that's not where I thought this was going.
No, cotton goods. They make cotton goods. Some bath towels, stuff like that. And it's nice stuff. But all made.
Man, I think you've done them.
I want to say I've thought about doing them. Okay. Well, I'm going to give them another shout out. But if we've already done them,
I'm pretty sure you have, because I feel like I remember you doing it. But what is their website, just so we can give them
it's Redland Cotton. I don't know if it's redlandcotton.com, but just search them.
Because I was waiting on you to say a thong set or something, and I feel like when you talked about them the previous time, you also kind of set it up, and I was also like, oh man.
Well, I thought I'd talked about it. I was like, I can't remember if I just talked to somebody about them or if I talked about them on here.
No, I think you did on here.
Yeah, I didn't move them.
Do they make crotchless panties too?
I mean, they don't, but I guess we could probably email them and see if they would
see if they would make some.
That doesn't seem like it's kind of in their niche.
Their wheelhouse.
They're more like bed sheets, like bedding, and like linens and bath towels. They make a few clothes, but nothing.
Oh man, they could
very
make crotchless
basic
panties.
clothing. It's not even like they don't even make regular panties. So I don't know that their first venture into undergarments would be crotchless panties. But
that's a letdown.
Yeah,
we'll have to reach out to them.
Okay, so all right, I can go on. Actually,
yeah, let's do a double one tonight here, just in case.
Product that I'm kind of familiar with this brand. I didn't realize a lot of their stuff was made in the USA. I don't know if it all is, but their socks. Heybo.
Oh yeah, their socks are made in USA.
My mother-in-law gave me 2 pairs of socks.
Wow.
My mother-in-law knows me well because I opened up the package. I feel like I might have told this story too.
I don't think so.
So from my mother-in-law, and this is a company we've covered in the past, Lodge Cast Iron.
Yep.
That's a Tennessee company actually.
Oh yeah.
She had me. I wanted a bacon press, or you can use it for like burgers or whatever. Just.
Oh, is it like would you use it on a Blackstone?
Yeah, you can use it on Blackstone, or I use it in my Lodge cast iron.
How big is it?
It's probably 8 inches diameter, so it's not quite as big as my biggest skillet. But like when I'm cooking bacon, it all wants to curl up. You can set that on there.
Oh man,
I've yet to use it with burgers yet to press them.
Have you used it with bacon?
Yeah, I use it with bacon.
Does it cook it really good and even?
Oh yeah, because it's pretty good and heavy. I mean, it's cast iron. Oh, they're flat as a pancake.
Oh man, I got to get one of those.
So she had that for me, and then there was 2 pairs of Heybo socks, just Heybo.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, then they're neat socks. I think one pair has ducks on, the one has like deer, but made in USA. I was like, well, that's not a brand that I would have thought.
I would not have either.
Yeah, I believe our our local store, because she bought them for me. She bought it at actually Ted's, which is their local store. Kind of. I won't say it's as cool as Hat Ads, but kind of their kind of hometown version of that. But yeah, Heybo socks.
Man, I would not have thought, just because they're such a broad, I think they got a lot of hunting apparel and stuff
and again, the socks are the only thing of their brand I've ever had, so I can't speak to the other things they make, but yes, socks, and pretty kind of novelty socks, like the kind of dress socks, but have, kind of outdoor theme to them.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, there's a 3-in-1. I hit on Lodge cast iron, the Heybo socks, and we did Redland cotton.
Crotchless panties from Redland.
Yeah. I got towels. I guess I could stitch those into a pair of panties.
That'd be
Don't know if that would be totally comfortable.
I was gonna say that sounds
probably not as comfortable as if Redland made them themselves.
Yeah, that sounds abrasive almost.
There's 3 companies to check out after you go to agzaga.com. They also do not have crotchless panties.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah,
not yet.
We'll talk to them about that. If we're going to continue this partnership, we might want to see if they can
We need a Talk Dirt to Me edition of crotchless panties.
Well, like a little Talk Dirt to Me tab, must be 18.
Yes, yeah. Our list of things they need on there.
I've actually sent them an idea for other things. It's like, hey, y'all really need to carry this because it's a legit product. Maybe not. I mean, I guess crotchless panties.
What's not legit about crotchless panties?
But it's like, you can't find this particular thing anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, y'all need to make one. I was like, yeah, you put one with our logo on it. But yeah, agzaga.com, use that code, talk dirt, buy all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
Hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. Maybe your wife would like some nice net wrap.
There you go. Yeah, get her some American flag bale wrap.
Yeah, you never know what you might find on there that she's looking for this Valentine's Day.
There you go, guys. Well, all right, like I say, next week we'll probably have a guest in house. The bourbon will be flowing, and the stories will be shared. You don't know what you might hear.
Yeah, and he's not coming just for storytelling. He actually is in the ag industry.
Right. Yeah, he is my crop insurance guy.
He sells me livestock risk protection insurance, PRF insurance. We could talk to him for hours because I don't even really understand how a lot of that stuff works.
Oh, shoot, me neither.
I just know it's a good idea to have it.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.